In 1948, a man from Michigan built a car that was safer, faster, and more advanced than anything Detroit had on the road. Within 2 years, he was bankrupt, on trial for fraud, and his factory was padlocked. This isn't a story about a failed car. It's a story about what happens when you build something the biggest industry in America can't compete with and won't let you sell. Welcome back to the Rolling Chassis. If you're new here, this is where we dig up the stories the car world buried, the breakthroughs, the disasters, and the cars that never should have existed. If that sounds like your thing, subscribe, because today's story is one of the wildest in automotive history. Preston Tucker wasn't an engineer by training. He was a salesman, a hustler, a guy who'd spent 20 years bouncing between car dealerships and failed ventures. But he had one obsession. He believed Detroit had stopped innovating, and that the post-war American public, flush with cash after World War II, was hungry for something genuinely new. While GM, Ford, and Chrysler were still retooling their pre-war designs, Tucker was sketching something radically different. A rear-engine car with a perforated steel safety frame, a windshield designed to pop out on impact instead of slicing into your skull, a padded, crash-resistant dashboard, and a swiveling center headlight that turned with the steering wheel so you could actually see around corners at night. For context, this is 1944. Seatbelts wouldn't become standard in American cars for another 20 years. Padded dashboards wouldn't be common until the 1960s. Tucker was building a car for an era of automotive safety that hadn't happened yet. He called it the Tucker 48. And to fund it, he needed serious money. Money he didn't have. So he did something that would later come back to destroy him. He sold stock and dealer franchises to the public before a single production car existed. Tucker's pitch worked almost too well. He raised millions. He leased the largest manufacturing plant in the world at the time, a former B-29 bomber factory in Chicago. Newspapers ran his story everywhere. And that's exactly when things started going wrong. Michigan Senator Homer Ferguson, whose biggest donors were the very automakers Tucker claimed had gone stale, launched an SEC investigation into Tucker's stock sales. At the same time, the SEC leaked unverified fraud allegations to the press before any charges were even filed. Here's the part that should make your blood boil. Under SEC rules at the time, leaking an active investigation like that was itself illegal. It didn't matter. The damage was already done. Dealers panicked. Stock buyers panicked. The story of the car Detroit couldn't beat turned into the world's biggest car scam. Almost overnight, and almost entirely from rumor. Production numbers tanked. Tucker could no longer raise capital. By the time his trial actually started in 1950, his company was already dead, whether he won in court or not. The federal trial lasted weeks. Prosecutors accused Tucker of selling stock based on a car that, they claimed, could never actually be mass-produced. It was a serious charge, and on paper, the government had the resources to bury him. But then, Tucker's lawyers did something simple and devastating. They drove an actual running Tucker 48 to the courthouse steps in front of reporters and jurors, every single day of the trial. You can't convict a man of fraud for a car that doesn't exist when there's a working one parked outside the building, every day, for the entire trial. In January 1950, the jury acquitted Tucker on every single charge. He'd won. Completely, legally, totally vindicated. It didn't matter. The factory was already gone. The capital was already gone. Only 51 Tucker 48s were ever built. Preston Tucker would spend the rest of his life trying and failing to raise money for another comeback. He died in 1956, having never built another car. Here's the twist that makes this story worth telling in 2026. Not just 1948. Almost every safety feature Tucker was mocked for is now mandatory by federal law. Seat belts, padded interiors, impact-resistant glass, crumple zones. The car that got a man destroyed in court is, feature for feature, closer to a modern car than anything else on the road that year. Of the 51 Tucker 48s built, around 47 still exist today. An absurdly high survival rate for a 75-year-old car, because owners have always known exactly what they had. One sold at auction for over $1.7 million. Preston Tucker didn't fail because his car was bad. He failed because he built something good enough to scare people who had a lot more power than he did.
That's the kind of story this channel exists for. Not just, here's a cool old car, but here's what it actually cost someone to build it. If you want more of these, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Tucker could have survived if he'd never sold stock early? I read every comment, and the best ones usually end up shaping the next episode.